Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, I am joined by Mac N Cheeasy, TikTok star with over 100,000 followers over there. And in this video, we're going to be talking about all things Bitcoin, crypto, and I want to ask him a couple questions about NFTs as well. Mr. Mac N Cheeasy, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's Monday. I'm feeling good. Jeb, I appreciate you having me on this channel. So if you are watching this, make sure to smash the like button because that gets this interview, this conversation to more people.
Absolutely. Well, even before we get started with it, Mac N Cheeasy, where can they find you on social media after they watch this video and they realize, gosh, I can't live without this guy. I need my life every single day. Where can they find you?
Yep. So on Twitter, I'm Mac N Cheeasy. The spelling is part of the fun. It's part of finding me. On YouTube, you can find me at The Incubator. It's a channel that's all about teaching people about crypto from beginners to advanced people, talking NFTs, DeFi, the like, and growing as an individual. Incubator, all about growth.
I love that. I love that name. Well, guys, you can also find all those links down below. But my friend, let's just let's kind of roll it back. One of the things I like to do in these interviews and where I really like to go with this is, let's see, what is your story in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Because I really love, one of my favorite things about this is getting to, talk to some of my audience's favorite creators. A lot of them probably follow you on TikTok, and kind of, figure out what is their journey in crypto, because I think people are able to draw a lot of parallels between their favorite content creators' journey and maybe their own journey. So how exactly did you come about cryptocurrency?
Right. So yeah, I think how the story of how people get into crypto is always interesting because it's such a new space even today that you had to jump into it. Even people that are coming in now, it's still a leap. So how did you make that leap? Well, for me, back in 2014, freshman year of college, Bitcoin was used for certain activities that we're not going to necessarily get into here, but some of my close friends were active using Bitcoin. So I started learning about it there. And I would kind of was like, okay, this is a product. It has this technology. It's interesting. And I have texts with my friends back in 2014, like, yo, should we buy it? Should we do this? Should we do that? And they're funny to look back on. And then I kind of started learning a little bit more about it. The 2017 boom came and I was like, okay, this is exciting. And then I started buying into Bitcoin. I ended up having a Bitcoin mining rig in the attic of my fraternity in college. So don't tell my college this, but we didn't have to pay for electricity. So we literally were mining Bitcoin for free without having to pay the electricity bill. So it was the most profitable Bitcoin mining in history, free electricity. So I started getting into mining, and then I met a couple of guys out in Montauk, Long Island, which is like it's like a beach town, and they ran a Bitcoin ATM company. And I was basically like, hey, let me come work for you. I want to start learning about the space. So I was in the operations part of this Bitcoin ATM company, and that was around 2018. And that's truly when I started taking the orange pill and was like, okay, I saw money moving hands that I didn't even know existed. I was like, I just emptied this ATM machine a couple days ago. Why do I have to go and empty it again? Like, what's going on here? And then that's when I took that orange pill. And then once that flip switches, you're like, okay, like this is all you can think about. So the journey was fun. That's like the TLDR. I'm sure we can kind of go in some future date really about the nitty gritty, but it was about like learning about it. And then it takes, like, what's the saying? It takes like 7 times hearing about Bitcoin or crypto before you actually get into it. And I think that's similar really with everyone.
Well, one of the things I'm really interested in is that you first heard about Bitcoin in 2014, and then you got into it and took the orange pill, as you said, in 2018. What were some of the barriers there in between 2014 and 2018 that was really stopping you from getting fully into Bitcoin? Were you hesitant? Were you worried about, like, I know the Ponzi scheme argument was prevalent back then. I got in 2017. What made you wait that long? And then finally, what actually, kind of what was the last thing that pushed you over the edge? Because I find everybody has that one final little thing that kind of, as you said, flicks that switch.
So well, I was hesitant because I didn't have any money. I was a college kid. So like, it was like either use your money to buy this speculative asset that could appreciate in price, could go to zero, or use your money to do whatever college kids do. So it was less of I joke with my friends, and I kind of have this theoretical conversation. If I was later on in my career, when I first, like, let's say 2014, I was like 22, 23, I was out of college and I was making some money, would I have orange pilled then? And it's hard to say. So it was a product of my environment and where I was just in terms of capital and living. And then what finally made me really switch was working for this Bitcoin ATM company and seeing the money that was taking place, and that there really was a utility here. People were using it for what it was worth. And it helped also having conversations with people that knew the space. The space can be so daunting for newbies coming into it. And just that's like crypto YouTube, I didn't even know existed. It was small, if it even existed. Like, there were so much less resources in 2017, 2018 that it was harder to get in. But having a couple people that would like show you how a Bitcoin wallet works, like show you what the blockchain, like confirming transactions and everything, that really helped me get into it. And once I was in, I wasn't going to leave.
I love that, because one of the things so basically the reason I asked that is because it sounds like two of the big things that really helped you is, one, you saw, hey, this is what this is actually for. You use the word utility, like, hey, Bitcoin is actually being used for something. It seems to actually have some kind of real value because people are ascribing it value because they're working in it. And two, you also had people that were able to pour into you and say, hey, it has value because of X, Y, and Z. I'm going to help you set up a Coinbase or whatever. And you had that. Let me ask you this. What would you tell people, because we're moving into this period where we're filming this before Thanksgiving. This is going to be going out a couple days after Thanksgiving, so it won't be out for Thanksgiving, but we're moving into the holiday season. People are going to be around their family a whole lot, and there's going to be a lot of conversations had about, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and DeFi. Obviously, seeing the actual utility and having good people around you are some of the things that is going to really help those people that have heard about Bitcoin but haven't really taken the leap yet. What are some other things that we as crypto evangelists can do to help get the word out there?
I think telling is effective to learn on the high level, but I don't think anything is more effective than being like, hey, dad, hey, brother, hey, sister, let's set up a wallet. Let's set up a MetaMask. Let's set up a Bitcoin wallet, and let me send you $20, maybe with Ethereum gas fees that might not make sense, but whatever it is, like, I think showing, not necessarily telling, and that might be harder around a Thanksgiving table, but being like, hey, this is the game I'm playing, and come watch this. Like, here's an NFT I own. This was just bought by Post Malone, showing Post Malone's wallet address, like showing the fact that these different things have the ability that was really never existed before. And once you show utility and you can show that there's actually a use case for certain things, I think that the light bulb switches, and you can say Bitcoin to the moon, Ethereum to the moon, limited supply, deflationary, EIP, but that's all gibberish to 95% of people. But once they can get their hands on it, that's when I think it really flips the switch.
That's a really good point, because just a few days ago, I got into NFTs for the first time. I'm just now getting into NFTs. I'm a little behind the 8 ball, but I'm getting there. And I just got my first couple of NFTs. Been watching them. I kid you not, yesterday I checked OpenSea to look at the activity of the collection like 20 times. Like, I felt like I was in crypto for the first time again. Like, I'm figuring out, here's how you connect OpenSea to my MetaMask. And I'm like, I'm a noob again. And I've been here for almost 5 years. I got in mid 2017. It's really cool. One of the things that I realized about crypto is that and I want to ask you about NFTs also, because I'm really interested in that. I know you have some experience in that. But one of the things about crypto that can be very daunting for people is that there's so many different avenues to go. You can go into Bitcoin, you can go into altcoins, you can go into DeFi, you can go into DAOs, you can go into Oracle Chains, you can go into NFTs, you can go into being a YouTuber, TikTok. They're like, there's so many places to go in crypto. It's almost like you walk into a store and you're like, okay, I want some cereal. And then you walk down there and there's like 500 types of cereal. It's like, well, crap, now I got to spend half an hour trying to pick what I want. And then I might just leave, throw my hands up.
Right.
What should people do when they first get into cryptocurrency? Because they have so many options. What should they do?
I think the first step for a lot of people is make a Coinbase account and buy Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. To me, that's the fundamental asset. That's the first asset. That's the simplest asset. And the same way institutions are getting into Bitcoin first, they're going to soon get into Ethereum, whatever it may be. Like, they're getting into Bitcoin first because it is the simplest. And I think before we start going down, like, you got to walk before you can run.
Right.
And I think if you just buy into these like DeFi projects, you don't have this true foundation. And I think getting skin in the game is the most important. So just put whatever it is to make you check OpenSea or to check the Bitcoin price. If that's $50, if that's $100, if that's $500, everybody's different. But put a little bit in so that now you're monitoring the market and you can get a feel for it.
I love that, because one of the things, like when I first got into crypto, I got into crypto July 31st, 2017, and I didn't actually buy crypto until about 4 or 5 days later. And the first thing I bought was Litecoin. I went from checking the market, like, every night at around 7 o'clock for those first 4 days. And then I was checking it like 100 times a day. I'm like, did my $10.02 in Litecoin go up to $10.03? You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's when I first started buying traditional securities, and and I was checking my Robinhood app every day. I remember I bought something for like $30, and then it went up like 5%. And like, I literally couldn't go to sleep because I was like, oh, I should have bought more. I should have bought more. Like, I was so mad. And like, now what you're experiencing with NFTs, like, you got skin in the game, and now you're checking OpenSea. Like, now you've probably learned more since you first bought NFTs.
Oh yeah.
Than like all the other times you've heard me spieling about NFTs and like this, that, like what it's, and it's not a fault to you. It's not a fault to anybody. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
It's just how it works. So like, once you get skin in the game, you'll be amazed at how quickly and how fastly you'll get acclimated to that part of the crypto environment.
It's so true. And that's one of the reasons why, and I'd love your thoughts on this. That's one of the reasons why crypto is doing so well, is because that mentality of like, oh my gosh, I got to check it. I got to check it. I got to check it. That can be dangerous, but it also speaks to the reason that crypto is successful. And the reason is, it has the same dopamine hit to your brain that gambling does. It's not gambling, and you have the ability to do things like technical analysis, fundamental analysis, on-chain analysis, and actually have a realistic reason to believe that something's going to do something. So it's not gambling at all, but it comes with the same kind of addictive, traits. And you got to be careful about that. But I think it's also one of the big reasons why crypto is growing so fast. People are playing cryptocurrency as if they would play a game. Would you agree with that?
100%. So when this comes out, this might be outdated. So there's a game right now, an NFT game called Wolf Game. I don't know if you've heard about it. But like, it is literally happening in real time. And it's this NFT based gambling game where there's a currency that's associated with it. And people are so intrigued with it because of the game theory. Like, this is legitimately a game. This is not like, this is not investing. This is legitimately a gambling, risky game. But people are so intrigued by it because there's this gamification of it. And it's like we're back playing RuneScape, or we're back playing Farmville, or whatever it is. But now we're playing with real life money. It is crazy. And yeah, like this dopamine hit and this engagement that people get into it, once you come in, you're not leaving. It's so like, how could you leave?
Well, I mean, it's also, I think and this is something that I know you know about. Cryptocurrency is like the final form of this hustle culture. Because when I got into like entrepreneurship, I was looking all around. I was looking at Shopify stores and Amazon FBA and flipping stuff, and like buying crap at a flea market and selling it on eBay. All kinds of ways that I remember one time I had a mini fridge at my house, and my friend asked, hey, can I have that mini fridge because I want to go and flip it on eBay for $30? And sure enough, I gave it to him. I gave him some bar stools and stuff. I think there's this mentality of entrepreneurship in America and all around the world right now, because so many nations are struggling with, you go out and make $12 an hour, which is above minimum wage in most places in America. That's nothing, but you can make $12 in a second like that trading if you invest in those skill sets. So do you think that that's one of the big things that's driving people towards crypto, kind of that hustle mentality that's become prevalent?
100%. The modern social media landscape, as bad as I think it is, like long-term for people's mental health, and I think there's a lot of problems with it, but I think one of the benefits is that it's empowered people to go towards the entrepreneurial route. And like, being an entrepreneur these days is like the coup de grace of professions, and everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. And you touched on it, right? These Amazon FBA, like I have e-commerce stores. I've done like flipping and selling. I've done all this stuff. And what crypto is, why crypto is so interesting is the market velocity is 100x quicker than that of any other market. Let's say you wanted to do a traditional eBay or like card flipping where you're flipping sports cards. You need to buy the sports card. You need to hold on to it. You need to wait for a purchaser. You then need to ship it to them. They may return it. There's just, the market velocity just isn't that quick. With NFTs, with a lot of different crypto things, the velocity is seconds. You could buy an NFT and then sell it within 5 minutes and make a profit without ever leaving the seat of your desk. And it's empowering people to learn and get into this space. I mean, there are risks associated with everything, but it truly is awesome.
One of the things, and I love what you just said, that's so empowering, because I think this entrepreneurial movement that's happened in the last 4 years has changed my life. I mean, when I grew up, I didn't grow up with a whole lot. Now I run a company with 16 employees, and I don't say that to brag. I say that to brag on crypto, not on me. The only reason that's possible is because of the internet and because of YouTube and because of Bitcoin. So I'm very thankful for that. But when I was getting started, I had all kinds of doubts. You know, I had all kinds of doubts of like, man, I want to make $10,000 a month in Bitcoin. Man, I want to make $50,000 a year so I can, help pay rent. I want to be able to, help pay for groceries, because I'm 21. When I started in cryptocurrency, I was 16. So I wanted to be able to do these things. And I had a lot of doubts, and I had a lot of things that stopped me and kind of paralyzed me. And I can tell the audience how I managed to get through that from experience, but I'd love for them to hear from you. How do people get through that sticking point of, getting started in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and having those doubts of, oh, I can't do this, or, oh, they lost a big trade and they want to give up? Like, what advice can you give to someone when they have that really big failure?
The thing that I preach is consistency. Like, that's it. So when I started and when I got into crypto, my goal was never to get to 100K followers, never to go viral, never to be on whatever show, never to be on Crypto Jeb's channel. Like, that wasn't my goal, because frankly, you can't control that. What you can control is hitting the post button every day. You can control reading the news every day. So I think change your goalpost to being making $1 million, making $100,000, because you truly can't control that. Move the goalpost to, my goal is to sit down every day and read an hour about crypto. Why? Because that's what you can control. And then what's going to come from that is good things. Over the course of time, good things are going to come to that. If you're trying to get into like crypto content creation or really anything, switch the goal from this thing that's out of your control and put it into something that you can control. And I think consistency and doing something over time with just this kind of passion is what will lead to success. So it's like, for me, again, I'm just going to post a video every day. I don't care if it's bad. I don't care if it's good. It's like, I'm just hitting the post button, and then I'm closing the app, and then I'm going to go to the next thing. So it's really consistency.
I love that, because and also it's consistency and it's patience, because when we start, and obviously you mean that, when I started this YouTube channel, I wasn't posting on anything else. I made a Twitter like almost a year after I started uploading on YouTube. I made a commitment in January of 2018. I am going to post a video every single day until I get out of the situation that I grew up in, period. I made a video every single day with maybe a dozen exceptions for 3 years. I didn't take weekends. I didn't take vacations. The longest I took off YouTube ever since I began last year was when the channel got taken down for a week because YouTube flagged us for something that we didn't even do. It was back during the beginning of the thing that shall not be named. But I posted a video every single day. It's all I did all day. And I didn't make a penny for 8 months, because YouTube's supposed to monetize you when you get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I had 8,500 subscribers and almost 40,000 watch hours, and they still didn't monetize us. So I missed out on, it's going to be brass tacks with you guys, almost $5,000 in ad revenue in that time, in those 8 months, that I very much needed as a 17-year-old who was trying to, help support my family. So the thing that I can tell you guys, and the same thing that you're telling them, Mr. Mac N Cheeasy, I love your name, by the way, is you just have to be consistent. And also the other thing that I'll say to that is, our leadership team, whenever we're doing planning, one of the things that we always do is we have a meeting every single week where we look at different numbers and metrics. And one of the things that we do is we separate our goals and our scorecards. So a scorecard is something that we're measuring, or excuse me, that we're doing. Like our salesperson has a metric to reach out to 10 potential, advertisers for the channel, like whatever the scorecard is, the actionable, and then the goal. You want to measure both of them, but it is so important that you split them up. A lot of people don't realize that there's a difference between making $1 million in a year and making 200 phone calls a day as a salesperson. That difference is huge.
100%.
Go for it.
100%.
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
With like piggybacking on that, like, yeah, I think it's truly impressive kind of what you've been able to do. And one thing that I want to note is, like, at least from my end, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is we don't really know what we're doing. Like, or like, I'll speak for myself. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not going to sit down and like, I tell everybody who's in like the incubator community, like I'm like, you know, just as much as I do. Like, I don't know anything. Like I'm learning the platform as I go, and I don't pretend to know. Like, so I think the more that you do these things and the more conversations that like you have with creators, like, and who you think were like, okay, they know exactly what to do. They know exactly how the algorithm works. They know like how to run a company. Like you put them almost on a pedestal, but I challenge you to not do that. I challenge you to think there's really no difference from anybody. And like, the difference is just this consistency and delivering, and like, but we don't know what we're doing. We really don't.
You know what most people do is that they start building one building, and they get like, they're trying to build a skyscraper, right? It's 100 stories tall, and they start building a building, and they get like 3 floors up, and they're like, this doesn't work. I can't see everything yet. This sucks. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go build this building over here. And then they get 4 floors up, and they're like, I can't see anything. This sucks. It hasn't made money yet. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna go build a shopping center now. And well, I don't have a client yet. If you had to just stuck to building the same thing, you probably would be at floor 100 by now. And that's the only thing that I can say, that other than the grace of God, which I firmly believe is a big part of it. Other than that, the thing that got me to where I am now, and I'm sure you would attest to this also, is you don't have a lot of breaks in that consistency, because you can be as consistent as you want for 2 weeks and you're not going to get any farther than the foundation. But if you're consistent for over 4 years, like I've been on YouTube, you're going to have something happen. It took me 8 months to get to 10,000 subscribers. Now, if we get 10,000 subscribers in a month, it's a terrible month for the channel. It just takes that consistency. And I'm sure that you've experienced the same thing.
It's beautiful thing. Compounding returns.
Absolutely. Well, let's pivot just a little bit and let's talk about some more things that are a little bit more crypto. But I love talking about these kind of entrepreneurial thoughts. People don't realize how important the entrepreneurial mindset is in cryptocurrency. So I love getting to speak about that. But I want to hear a little bit about NFTs, because I just mentioned my first 2 NFTs a little while ago. They're already in the floor price of the collection that I just bought into, Mojo Heads, is quite a bit higher. I actually know the creator of Mojo Heads, so it's pretty cool. But what was your first experience in NFTs? And if you could tell the audience one thing about NFTs, what would it be?
So my first experience with NFTs was in 2020 of June. So I was relatively early in the NFT space relative to like when it boomed, and I was making offers on certain things. I was looking at CryptoPunks. I decided I wasn't going to put money out on a CryptoPunk, which hurts, really does hurt. The funny thing there was I was like, I'm so bullish on ETH that I don't want to give up my ETH, because I'm confident ETH is going to go where it is today, which
ETH has 10x since then. So yeah.
Right. So like, it wasn't but the CryptoPunk has got, so that was like my first experience was kind of like futzing around, and I put offers in, but I never truly got skin in the game. And then the second I got skin in the game, I learned so much more than like 6 or 9 months of reading about NFTs. Right. I learned about it in like literally a day. I learned more than all that.
That's so accurate. Yeah.
That was like my experience with NFTs. And now, for one thing with NFT ownership, is I think it is a way to uniquely identify a person, an entity, a thing owns this this project, this utility, this token, this item. And this, I'm saying that kind of vaguely because each item can have a different type of aspect to it. An NFT could merely be a piece of art. An NFT could be ownership in a company or a DAO. An NFT could be a access to a video game. An NFT could be a DeFi product that gives you tokens that have value. So it's a technology. It's not necessarily a product.
I have an interesting question for you, and this literally just came to mind. You know how shares of a company, stocks, are individual certificates. They're only divisible down to certain amounts. You can't have like 1/100 billionth of a stock the same way you can Bitcoin if you're holding the actual stock. Do you think stocks one day are going to end up being NFTs rather than based on centralized exchanges like Nasdaq?
It's interesting, right? And I think this goes back to the fundamental question of like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think Bitcoin competes with gold. I think Ethereum competes with the entire stock market.
Yeah.
And I think that Ethereum is challenging that. Why? Because you can take and you can make companies on top of the Ethereum network. And these DAOs, so right, so let's say your company, you wanted to make it entirely on you wanted to make an NFT for your company. And now you can fractionalize it through NFTs, and now anybody in the world can own it. So I wouldn't say it's going to happen tomorrow, but I think the newest the revolutionary companies that are coming out, they're going kind of the DAO route. And it is a hype train, and I think we're going to see it slow down come bear market. But DAOs allow for you to, and I'm saying DAO, it's basically a term for
centralized autonomous organization.
Yeah, so it's basically like an online company that allows anybody in the world can have ownership in it. And I think companies who go the traditional route, they're going to be around for the foreseeable future, but DAOs are going to pop up more left and right because anybody in the world can have ownership to them.
Interesting. That leads me into my next question, but that's super interesting that you think that. I'm gonna have to look more into that. That's a really good point. Let me ask you this. During the bear markets, certain projects help to keep the market alive and help to reignite the market. They act like a pilot light. When the market goes down to $3,000 in 2018, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the pilot light that kick that back off. What do you think are going to be the areas or projects in the cryptocurrency space that are going to keep the market afloat during what is probably going to be next year's bear market, maybe 2023's bear market?
It's interesting, right? Because we've seen so much adoption from like institutional investors. So in the previous bear market, there weren't like companies like crypto.com. There weren't companies like FTX. So we see crypto.com becoming the new Staples Center. Like we see FTX Arena, the Miami Heat Arena. So whereas Ethereum and Bitcoin, those were like those kept crypto alive, because let's say Bitcoin died, who knows what would have happened? Let's say Ethereum died, who knows what would have happened, because those were your horses. Now I think it's a touch different. I think like these commercial type things that are centralized entities that are a little bit less like the traditional crypto space, I think those are going to be the burning light, right? You go to a Lakers game and you go to crypto.com arena or facility, whatever the name is. You go to a Miami Heat game and it's FTX Arena and they're giving you an NFT for just going to the game. So we're in a world where you can't really ignore crypto. And I think these I don't know, the things that are just kind of mainstream, like these mainstream type things are going to be that burning light. So it's,
I mean, they're like anchor points. They stop the market from falling down. It's almost like, you got like this ship and, somebody shoots it with a torpedo, but, oh, look at that. It's got like floaties on it. So it's just kind of holding it up, even though there's a hole in it.
And I think the previous bear markets, like we didn't know, like literally when COVID happened, I personally didn't know if we didn't know how extensive it was going to be. Like, I didn't know if Bitcoin was going to be able to survive. And the previous bear markets, we didn't know if crypto was going to be able to survive. We didn't know where it was going to go. But I think the bear market now, we know it's going to survive. So that hesitation when people see the dip where they're like, oh, this is going to zero, I don't know if people are going to think the same thing. I think
Yeah.
that they're going to think this is a buying opportunity, and we will see a major correction, but I'm of the believer that I think that correction might be less severe than the previous runs.
I think you're definitely right, and I think all the institutional adoption is, like you said, it's gonna keep the market afloat, and it's going to. I don't think we're ever going to see an 80% drop bear market ever again. It could happen. I just think that we're going to see the market stabilize a lot because of not only just how big the market is, but also how diverse the market is. Back in the day, like you said, Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of both your horses. That's only 2 points of failure. If both of them go into massive drops, then kind of the whole market drops. But right now, if Bitcoin drops, okay, well, you got Ethereum, you got the entire altcoin space, you have all the DeFi projects, you got Cardano doing its thing, you got NFTs, you got all the institutions still getting in, you got more. It's just like there's so many different areas that kind of hold the market up. So let me ask you one final question here. For the person that's been in crypto, and this is, I ask this question to every single person at the end of our interviews. For the person that's been in cryptocurrency for 30, 60 days, 6 months, they just got into crypto, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give them?
Dollar cost average. I think there's a reason why everyone says it. And I think the problem that we see, and a lot of the influencers and stuff, it's about like holding through dips and like whatever it is, whatever your strategy is, but it's a lot easier said than done for people like me and you who are very much in the green. Like we've been in crypto for a while, so we're kind of playing with house money. So when I see a dip, I'll speak for myself here, right? So when I see a dip from Bitcoin going from 65K to 30K, it's a lot easier for me to hold through that. It's a lot easier for me to hold through that. And I think that kind of gets lost in translation when you're listening to people talk about holding through the dip, diamond hands, hodl, like, so, but what dollar cost averaging allows for you to do is taking your emotions away from the game, taking your emotions away and slowly getting into positions. And then that way, if you're a long-term investor, this strategy is going to win. This strategy is going to, you're going to be a winner with this. It's about disconnecting your emotions from the actual market, because the market is volatile and nobody's going to tell you otherwise, and just have a strategy. And I think you've heard it a million times because I think it's phenomenal advice.
I love it. I love it. It's one of the it's one of the best things I ever did. I got some Bitcoin from $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 because I was dollar cost averaging. I've got Ethereum at $136 because I was dollar cost averaging during last year's drop, and very, very glad that I did that. Well, I had a lot of fun today, but tell our audience, where can they find you? Again, they can find you on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube mainly, but what are the names of those places?
Yep. So Twitter, YouTube, Instagram is Mac N Cheeasy. The description is in the links are in the description below for that. But primarily on YouTube, it's called The Incubator. Again, we got our logo right here. But yeah, it's about getting.
Oh, nice. I love that logo. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I just saw that.
Some stickers. And yeah, it's all about just learning about crypto for beginners, really getting into the DeFi NFT space. And it's a community of people that just like growing together. We have a Discord community. We have goal accountability meetings every Monday where we just talk about what our goals are. And I'm just in there kind of talking about smart goals, setting yourself up for success in businesses that aren't only just crypto. So that's something that I'm truly passionate about.
That is a great reason to go subscribe to The Incubator on YouTube. And like we said, all of those links will be down below. That's all we got for you today, though, guys. Before I go,
I do want to just say thank you for having me. I know you were doing the outro, but smash the like button, smash the like button.
Smash the like button. I love it. No, thank you very much for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure. By the way, he and I met on Around the Blockchain, so make sure you keep watching Around the Blockchain over on the BitBoy Crypto channel, because you might see us on over there again. I'm going to be on ATB tonight, actually. Not tonight when you're seeing this tonight, when I'm recording this Monday. So that's already come and gone. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, hit that like button, subscribe to both of our channels. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.